And Kirk is saying, "Make your point, Doctor." And Bones says, "The point is that it's you who's competing. You rammed getting this command down Starfleet's throat. You've used this emergency to get the Enterprise back." "And I intend to keep her, is that what you're saying?" "Yes, it's an obsession. An obsession that can blind you to far more immediate and critical responsibilities. Your reaction to Decker is an example, Jim." And then the intercom interrupts, and Uhura tells us there's this shuttle that it's going to turn out to be Spock, but at this point they don't know. They think it's something not really important. So Kirk just has Chekhov take care of it. All right, now back to this concept of obsession. So Bones suggested that Kirk's obsession with the Enterprise has created some real problems in his ability to live life effectively as a part of the world around him. But we recognize that in the build-up portion of the film leading up to the launch of the Enterprise, Kirk's excitement and longing for his return to the Enterprise mirrors that of the viewer. Kirk sees the Enterprise with new and jubilant eyes, just like the viewers do. Kirk has been wanting this for so long and finally has it, just like the viewer. So when Bones makes an observation about the fact that Kirk's satisfied longing is a manifestation of a long-term obsession, it's not much of a stretch to suggest that Kirk's obsession kind of mirrors the obsession of Star Trek fandom, or of fandom just in general as a concept. So here's an interesting question. Does your obsession or your fandom make you a better person or a worse person? Does your fandom or your obsession with the Enterprise and its perfect crew, let's say, does that make you better for the world around you or worse for the world around you? In the 2008 film Fanboys, the filmmakers present a number of Star Wars and Star Trek fans for whom their obsession has turned them into haters. Their fandom turned them into haters who wanted to attack others, either attack the people as people or attack the concepts, or perhaps attack both at once because they're kind of the same thing to them. And it also, the obsession also turned them into directionally challenged, relatively unproductive members of society in terms of stuff like career ambition, life goals, sense of direction, life purpose, that kind of thing. For those particular fans, their fandom made them into haters and flounderers, and in a sense, kind of left them with nothing, or very close to nothing. Their obsession, to use McCoy's language, left them blind and kind of groping around, blind and lost. Meanwhile, at the end of that film, Fanboys, there was one character who had terminal cancer, and then they all went on this pilgrimage to go try to see Star Wars Episode 1 before it launches. And at the end, this one with terminal cancer, he actually was allowed by George Lucas to watch that film, and no one else was. He was allowed to watch it at the end of their cross-country pilgrimage. So he had basically attained the holy grail of his fandom, and he watched through this unreleased film. But he wasn't allowed to tell his friends any of the details about it. And then as he was walking out and they asked him what he thought about it, he just kind of gave vague answers and looked a little dysphoric. He looked a little deflated, kind of like his inner sense of reality was kind of in flux. But anyway, so near the end of the film, that character, as he's sitting kind of alone in this woodsy area, I think they were out camping, if I remember right, and he's kind of sitting there reflecting and thinking with kind of a distant look on his face. And what he says to his friend, he makes the observation that perhaps the fandom actually wasn't about the films all along, after all. Maybe it was actually about things that were bigger than the films, things that were independent from mere screen time. Maybe we could suggest for fans like those ones in that film, maybe, though they wouldn't have put it like this probably, maybe they didn't, I'm sure they didn't realize it, but maybe we could say that some of that stuff, what it was really about, stuff like the community, the energy, the imagination, the sense of togetherness that arose for them around the Star Wars trilogy. And that meager number of hours of runtime, like what do you get, like 6 hours total, you know? So all that, and that community, that imagination, that togetherness, that would continue to exist even if, let's say some aliens came and stole all footage of all Star Wars films forever at that point, you know? And let's say no one on Earth was ever going to see an authentic Star Wars opening crawl ever again. But even if that were to happen, the fandom, as people enjoying fantasy and imagination together, it would still remain. Because It's not actually about this mere smattering of hours of runtime on a film reel. So, I guess I'm kind of suggesting it seems like when that particular superfan was reflecting on his end-of-life pilgrimage in his long-awaited exposure to the holy grail of the unreleased Phantom Menace film, and as he thought about his life and how much time he had left to live, it seems that this was part of what he ended up realizing as he found himself asking, is that it? Darth Maul and a pod race? Is that all I have to live for? Similarly, to give one more fandom reference, the 1997 documentary Trekkies, which perhaps single-handedly sealed the doom of the social acceptability of Star Trek fandom for the next 10 plus years. But much like the film Fanboys, the documentary kind of gives us a picture of a kind of fandom in which fandom may constitute more or less your entire life. And unfortunately, one of the criticisms of the film is that it kind of ended up prioritizing, probably accidentally ended up prioritizing, shall we say, not normal fans, almost kind of seeming to suggest that in order to be a hardcore true Trekkie, you've got to be kind of frighteningly socially awkward in a culturally disruptive manner. But even when people are engaging in alarmingly socially awkward behavior that gets miscategorized as quote-unquote fandom, as though the more of a Star Trek fan you become, the more you are going to be engaging in culturally inappropriate behaviors. But at the same time, the documentary made the emphasis that even the very weirdest of these superfans may be the kind of citizen that makes our country, makes the world a better place. Because, generally speaking, those kind of people are probably going to believe in the moral message of Star Trek, and they want to do what's right. They want to do what a true Starfleet officer would do. And they may just make the world around them a little bit of a better place to be than it would be without them. Remember the Star Trek fans in the 1999 film Galaxy Quest? You know, all the really nerdy ones with matching hairdos that went around like lemmings pursuing Pseudo-Shatner at the Pseudo-Trek convention. Pseudo-Shatner was so annoyed with them because, just like some of the people in the Trekkies documentary, all these look-alike superfans seemed to be maladaptively stuck in play-acting mode. Kind of like people who've been playing just way too much Dungeons and Dragons, and now you just can't get them to snap out of it. Their fandom, their obsession, as far as Pseudo-Shatner was concerned, their fandom was making the world a very annoying place to be in, and was making them annoying to him. But of course, they weren't actually fans. They were aliens from another planet. And fans can sometimes seem like aliens from another planet, now can't they? Particularly if they also happen to be neurodivergent at the same time. Kind of like the implication of that one Star Trek Enterprise episode, Carbon Creek, in which the Vulcans were walking around on Earth as humans on the autism spectrum. In the same way, sometimes fans, especially if they are neurodivergent, fans can look a little bit like aliens walking around on Earth. But here's the question. Does their fandom make them better or worse? Contrary to what the Trekkies documentary might accidentally have come across as implying, contrary to that, their fandom didn't make them neurodivergent. If it wasn't this obsession, it would be some other obsession. One of the things that I hope I can do in a small way through my channel here is to help all of us with our various fandoms, whether Star Trek, Star Wars, Harry Potter, or whatever it is, help all of us enjoy our fandom while using it to bring out the best in us, to become better people, more educated, more informed, more wise, more able to live life skillfully, to be able to do and be all of that while having a healthy obsession that makes us better rather than making us, let's say, haters or people with empty, lonely lives. Fans that make the world a better place, whose fandom makes them better people who make the world a better place, rather than, as painted so tragically in the film Fanboys, rather than being people who just become haters, who have so little to show for all the passion that they have bled out passionately throughout their lives. So, anyway, in this film, the motion picture, Kirk wants to save the Federation from V'Ger, and his obsession with the Enterprise can play a role in that journey. But Bones rightfully warns Kirk that if the obsession is actually running the whole show, it's going to leave you with blind spots. And if your desire for the Enterprise ranks higher than your passion for living out Federation values, such as the dignity of humanity and the importance of respecting and valuing the people around you, these people around you matter so much more than your obsession. Because those kinds of values that drive Starfleet and the Federation are so much more important than getting back the Enterprise or keeping the Enterprise. Let's be those kinds of fans. The kinds of fans who value people and respect for others over everything else. Anyway, after they turn off the view screen there, then Kirk kind of lets the moment breathe a little bit, and he says, "Your opinion has been noted. Anything further?" And Bones, after a pause, he says, "That depends on you." And then there's another pause while they're just kind of looking at each other. And then McCoy heads off, and the camera stays watching. We kind of stay there watching Kirk as he stands there motionless while the doors close. Next scene, we go on to very slowly watch this shuttle coming up and docking with the Enterprise. To our surprise, Spock is the one who steps through the door there, and before long he's stepping onto the bridge. Uhura gasps, and Sulu says, "Why, it's Mr." And then Kirk finishes with wide eyes of surprise. "Spock! Spock!" And everybody's startled by this unannounced arrival, even Ilia and Decker.